Well, guys, welcome to Dallas.
Thank you
for having us. We love it here.
Such a great, fun movie last night. It was really original, real genre bending.
Yeah.
What about the script really made you gravitate towards it and said, I had to do this?
Exactly that. It was such a breath of fresh air. It was original and unique and daring, and I love that it's a mashup of all these different genres. It's comedic, it's a romantic film, it's an action, and of course it's the zombie genre, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I really like the take that it was told from my character's perspective, which I don't think we've really seen that before in a film, and to get into the zombie mindset and that, and then with Jonathan Levine directing, I think he's got a really soft touch at being able to balance making a film funny and not taking itself too seriously, but then also keeping a lot of heart and keeping it grounded in reality, even with the concept that maybe seems slightly ridiculous. And he manages to do that with this film really, really successfully.
Yeah.
Tell us about the makeup a little bit, the makeup process.
Yeah, the makeup only took an hour and a half. Adrian Moreau did it. He's a very talented makeup artist.
He won an Academy Award,
He
didn't
won
he?
an Academy Award for Barney's version.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was very simple to wear in many ways. Some contact lenses, and it really helped to create the character. Once you get the makeup on and the wardrobe and these fantastic sets that we had, it was very believable and easy to kind of get lost in the world that they were creating for us.
Nicholas, how hard did you find it to get across the emotions that your character barely speaks at all?
Yeah, it was a new challenge. Luckily, there's some great voiceover which gives you an insight into my character's thoughts and kind of witty, self-deprecating outlook on the situation he's found himself in. But then it was all about just focusing on the fact that this is a character who's trying his best to emote and connect, even though he's struggling with it. And I think a lot of guys
Struggle with that.
can relate to that. Put them in a room with a girl they like, and suddenly it's panic, nothing to say. And fortunately for me, I was surrounded by very talented actors who, you know, with a strong script and a director who was very supportive and encouraging. Mm-hmm. So I could just sit there and watch them perform and enjoy what they were doing, and then you know, try and react in a kind of zombie manner with emotions.
You did a good job.
The tone of the book is very different from the actual movie, which I was kind of surprised when I saw the first trailer. The book isn't as funny as the movie. Did you read the book beforehand or after the script, or did you just go off the script?
I read the script first and loved it, and cared about the character a lot, and just thought this could be a really interesting, different film. And then once I had met Jonathan and got cast in the film, then I read the book. And as you said, it's very different, and there's some really interesting ideas and concepts and some very strange things in the book that aren't in the film. But it was a great insight. You know, the descriptive writing that Isaac's managed to capture, the feelings that R goes through, are fantastic and helped in creating the character.
I was surprised how many big elements in the book were in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the movie.
It was really well adapted, wasn't
Yeah, it was really well adapted in a sense also where the script that Jonathan wrote didn't change a lot throughout filming. He had captured the characters and all the key story beats really clearly, and that was nice, so we could balance it, particularly for me having to, you having to go through so many emotions of being petrified of me, and then this relationship developing, me also kind of healing. There's this thing where, because the script was so strong and didn't change, that made our jobs a lot easier.
So much easier. And that's a rarity, I think. More often than not, when you go and shoot a film, the script that you initially read prior to filming completely changes by the end of it. And, certainly a lot of the acts get changed around. And it was fantastic. It's very liberating as an actor to just put your trust in the director and the material they've written, because it's so strong. And I think... yeah, that's really a great blessing for you as a performer.
What do you think attracted your character Julie to art?
His sensibility.
Dashing good looks.
Yes, dashing, somewhat pale looks. Look, his way, his beautiful way about him, his light spirit, the way he is so sensitive and he just wants to look after her and just take care of her, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, and she knows he's a good guy, and he's he's trying so hard, and she sees that he actually is making the best of this horrible situation he's in. And I think she sees that in her own self too. She can relate to that. She's been thrust into this world, this horrible, dark world where her mother's been killed and her boyfriend's now missing, and she's this bright light amongst this dismal community. And I think ours the same way.
Nick, you had played a beast in a previous movie where you have a human and kind of mutant element, and now you're playing a human with a zombie element. Is there something that attracts you to, I guess, being a blue character, or just in general?
He's into blue. He's into that color.
Because that split persona is very fascinating. A lot of psychology goes into the film in general, but you being a zombie and a human, can you explain that process of that what attracts you to that?
A lot of the time these characters are outsiders, and I mean, I enjoy as an actor being able to completely try and transform and morph and not sound like myself or look like myself or move like myself, because then I find it's not as difficult to watch when you're sitting in the premiere. If you sound and look like yourself, then you're like, it's terrifying. It's just really awkward. So with these, I like being able to do that, and I like trying to bring a human quality and soul to those sort of characters. I've kind of lost my train of thought at the moment, but.
That was well answered.
Was that a full answer? Did I finish that?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I like wearing a lot of makeup at work.
Yes.
Not
At
outside.
work. At work.
Key at work, not outside. But it's fun, and they're characters that I've related to and cared about.
Was there one scene or sequence that stands out as being the most fun to shoot?
I think we both think, that sequence where me and my friends, we've gone out to get the medical supplies and we're in there, and it's the first time the zombies kind of come and stampede in, and they, it's the first moment you lay eyes on my character, and it's obviously a pivotal moment in the film.
Yeah, so much happens in that short period of time where we attack, I get shot. It's going crazy.
You're eating
full action
brains.
sequence. I eat Dave Franco's brains and relive his memories. The idea in this film is when you eat a person's brains, you gain their memories. So I do that and see his memories with Judy's.
Whilst I'm like shooting a shotgun and sliding on my knees and killing zombies.
And then it's the first time we interact, and there's just a lot going on, and it was a fun sequence to shoot.
That was really fun.
and-
We shot over 3 days.
Yeah.
It was great. There's smoke machines and squibs going off and stunt people, and I'm throwing knives at him.
Yeah,
and
you stabbed me. I get shot and stabbed.
I stab him.
Really early on. I get shot twice
I'm
in this
crying. There was a lot in that sequence, but that's what makes it our favourite one, I think.
film. Yeah, and any scene with Rob Corddry, because the guy's hilarious
Yes.
and would make me laugh uncontrollably most of the time.
He was such a crack up.
Yeah.
Well, that communication was just beautiful between you two, even though
It was very male communication anyway. Most of the time guys don't have the best talk. It's like sitting at a bar and they're watching the sports or whatever. But we were improvising groans where we sat there, and then Rob had one particular groan that would get me every time where we're sitting there, and then he would just let out a really slow, monotonous, long groan.
For as long as he could hold his
So
breath, he just
long.
kept going.
And I'd be looking at him, and in my head I'm just going, please stop doing that. I'm going to laugh. Please.
He would like bite his cheeks to stop himself from
There's
laughing.
a lot of outtakes from this film.
Speaking more to the emotions of your characters, a lot of what was carrying the moments where you couldn't speak was the music. It was really awesome soundtrack.
It's almost like another character, the music.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking that was in light, just like teenagers who have trouble communicating, it was the way you two communicated together.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any input as to what songs got played?
I didn't have an input. Jonathan Levine's always manages to create great soundtracks for his films. And there's a nice mix in this one between Bob Dylan, and one of the first songs that my character plays for you is Guns N' Roses, Patience.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of hits the moment right on the head, because she suddenly
Patience.
sees there's something going on that more than meets the eye with this guy. But then they've got a mix of some of the more modern, like M83 and things like that kick in
Love that
occasionally
song.
and just kind of give it a little spark and a kick.
And I loved the soundtrack in itself is very eclectic. I mean, we have the old artists, we have the new artists. It's upbeat and fun, and that's really representative of what this film is too. It's very eclectic. It's romantic. It's funny. It's all these different things, and so that's why I thought the soundtrack was perfectly fitting for this film.
what are you hoping that your young fans get from this movie, like relationship-wise?
Relationship-wise, I don't know relationship-wise, but I think maybe just that thing where the world's so busy nowadays and there's so much going on and we're sensory overload, and just perhaps that thing whereby sometimes just to be able to shut that out and be aware of the world around us and connect and appreciate the little things, and just enjoy life.
Yeah, and my favourite message of this movie is really that the idea that love breathes life back into us, and there are so many disenfranchised people in the world, and if you can just connect back to that, love can heal, love can make the world a brighter shade, and that's something I connect to personally, and I think this story really shares that with people.
Teresa, you learn how to be a human again, even though you all are one already.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that a little bit and what it's like to fall in love with a zombie?
Yeah, well, I think what's really neat about this story is that I breathe life back into R, but he also breathes life back into me.
Give you hope.
There is not much hope in our society right now, and the refreshing thing about Julie is she is more of a bright spark than the majority of the humans left in this population. And when she gets thrust into the situation with R, where all of a sudden she's been taken to his lair, and she's a hoarder, and there are trinkets, and he has vinyls, and he's playing her music, and initially she's very fearful, and she's very confused, and it's a bizarre situation, and then her confusion turns into curiosity and wonderment. She has no idea that zombies even have this side to them at all, and everything we know, and especially my father, John Malkovich, everything that John Malkovich thinks about these corpses is completely backwards, and it's through that she realizes, oh my gosh, there is hope. Through our love, he's starting to heal. Perhaps if he's starting to heal, the others can heal too. And it's just an organic transition from the fear into the curiosity, into the admiration, eventually into the love.
It was symbolic too when the walls came down. I mean, even
At the very end. Yes, that's another
It meant
message.
more than one thing.
Bring down the walls. Yeah. It was really beautiful.
How was it like acting, both of you? You didn't say much in the actual scenes. It was all, a voice. And you didn't really get any response from him. So what's it like acting like that versus constant dialogue versus a lot of silence?
I love the beauty in the silence. I have to say, so much is said when we're just looking at each other. And I think the way he is and his stillness and how he's able to emote so much just through his eyes and his body language has such an effect on Julie. It also calms her down, slows her down. And for me, I initially was nervous about the idea that I have the majority of the dialogue, pretty much all the dialogue between the two of us. And I've never taken on a role quite like that. It's definitely the most I've ever spoken in a film. But then when I got on set and I saw how in R's shoes Nicholas managed to get, he really got beneath this character, and I truly felt like I was in the room there with R, and I was Julie, and that alone told me so much. I could look at him and I knew exactly how he was feeling, and that's a testament to what a brilliant actor Nick is. I never felt alone in the scenes at all.
Yeah, it was something the whereby when I got cast, there was obviously a really fine balance to strike, because I wasn't saying a lot or being able to do a lot in the film. We needed someone for Julie who had a real positive spark, energy around her, someone that you could believe, and Teresa completely had that from the first reading we did together. I remember at the end of one take, there was a moment where I'm sitting there and I'm and then she gave me like a little nudge and a grin and a smile, and I sat there and it was like this little heartwarming moment where I was like, okay, this is a girl that I could understand not wanting to eat her brains, and being able to create change within me, and then it was really nice on set because I could just sit there and enjoy your performance and watch and then sometimes get so wrapped up in it that I'd forget my like one line for a whole scene.
Oh, it's funny. I knew your lines as well. I'd be like, safe.
I'd sit there and I'd be like, I'd be watching, I'd be like,
It's like, so I'm
this is really
safe
good,
or
she's doing
not
great.
eat.
Wow, this is different from last time. Oh yeah, interesting. And then I'd see you stop and pause and look at me, I'd be like, hang on a minute.
And I'm like, not eat. Oh, not eat, not eat.
Oh yeah, I'll say that.
What was the most challenging physical, I guess, thing you had to do for the film?
That whole end sequence was pretty difficult. The sprinting,
Yeah, the zombie run is difficult.
the zombie run.
Zombie shuffle, okay.
Because I was really going for it. I was
Teresa's
in
quick.
my action
And I was
mode.
like, oh man, I'd been practicing on the treadmill in the gym and running around in the car park and all this sort of stuff. But then it's like, yeah, it's weird.
And
that uncoordinated, because I'm obviously quite the athlete. So to not run it under 100 meters in 9.3 seconds, it's
So how many
tricky.
times did you have to film that?
Well, that's the thing is we filmed that whole, it was maybe like 3 weeks of the ending where pretty much we're running all day. And
Oh, wow.
what they would do is they would mount the camera on the back of a golf cart and they would drive in front of us and someone would be on the back filming. But we have to keep a specific distance, and they're the ones that set the speed. So we actually have to keep up with the golf cart. And so you can't get tired. You have to just keep on running.
Oh, wow.
And you really feel like you're running for your life. It's quite interesting.
So what do you guys prefer? Olympic sprinter zombies or slow-moving zombies? And what are your go-to zombie flicks?
My go-to zombie flick would be Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
28 days later for me.
I don't know about the zombie movement thing. I haven't fully, because in this one, I shuffle, but I can keep pace. I can run, but not like a super
split in the
athlete.
middle.
It was an awesome hybrid, actually. You in that that stadium scene trying to keep up. It was
Yeah, I feel as though it would have been strange if I had suddenly just been like,
Yeah.
and then that's not the character. If he could suddenly be a really great kind of strong. Support, I don't know, athletic character like that could win fights easily and stuff.
That
That's
would
not
change
what
the
character's-
dynamic of the relationship.
Yeah, it's not what the character's about. So I think we managed to find a balance between the two.
Nicholas, a big movie fan know who you are, of course, since About a Boy. But you're with this and your upcoming slate of films. It seems like you're about to really become a star. You feel like you're prepared.
It is.
I don't think that's the case.
He's so humble. He's
I don't-
obviously going to be a huge movie star,
I don't
and he
think-
deserves it.
You don't count your eggs before they're hatched. Is that the right
Yes.
phrase? But it's a thing where I've been very fortunate recently to have a good run and work with talented directors and play characters that I really like in films that seem to be being well received. I just like to keep on working.
And he's a breath of fresh air as well, because he's so humble and down to earth and normal, and that's really sweet. And I know that everyone who's worked with him wants to continue working with him, and so he's got a really good reputation. Makes people want to work with him.
Fun question for you, Nick.
Do we just get an R at a press
Yeah,
conference?
I think we do.
So-
Sorry.
We
One
do.
question for you. If you could eat the brains and just the memories of anyone in the world, who would it be?
I've said a few different answers to
Yeah,
this
me
now.
too.
I started off with Henry VIII, and then I went Tina Turner.
You went Tina Turner, that's right.
And I've
Don't
kind
get
of,
us confused.
I've kind of, I've kind of been all over the place. I'd like to ingest the mind of like a really intelligent scientist or great
that's
philosopher or
Einstein.
something, or psychologist or something. But then I feel as though that might destroy me and turn me into, or I wouldn't understand it.
You just went, whoa.
Yeah. So I'm not
Elizabeth Taylor for me.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, old school Hollywood, all these incredible stories in her life, and then the Richard Burton, that would have been interesting. But yeah, it would have been great to see what old Hollywood was like.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Freddie Mercury. I think I watched a documentary on him recently, and the guy was incredible. And
Pretty cool.
One more question.
Isaac writes on his blog, clearly there is something uncool about writing sequels. None of the writers whose careers I hope to emulate have done it. In serious literary circles, it is just not done. The thing is, I'm writing a sequel. So if there was a movie to be made for a sequel, would you be in?
I would love to play Julie again. I think if this film finds a wide audience, then I would absolutely love to pick up where we left off and continue to tell the story.
Yeah, I'd love to work with everyone again, and I enjoyed the character a lot.
And you wouldn't have to wear a bunch of makeup this time.
Well, who knows what would happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no set plans for anything at the moment. We just hopefully people will like this film.